What's up guys, it's Chelsea here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video I typically don't usually film. This is going to be a really personal topic, and the reason I'm going to be sharing this with you guys is to help others going through the same situation right now. I've actually seen a lot of videos about this which encouraged me to speak up about my situation and hopefully inspire others to stay strong, keep fighting, and some advice to help them. So without further ado, the video title is going to be how to deal with manipulative / narcissistic parents, or basically just parents that are very controlling. I don't want to put labels on anything right now, but just kind of how to deal with parents who are very verbally abusive, physically, and mentally for sure. So yeah, if you're interested, please keep watching and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into this topic. Okay, first off, let me explain how my situation affected me, the way that my parents would parent me, and kind of talk about my experience. So ever since birth, pretty much, I've always been a shy person, always really sensitive growing up, and also very social in ways, but once I got comfortable with you, like if I just met you that day, I was really shy, I wouldn't make eye contact, and if I eventually get comfortable with you, I'll start opening up. So that's how I've always been. And obviously being sensitive and shy growing up is hard because a lot of people bully you for that because they see that you're weak or like that they could walk all over you and stuff like that. So obviously in high school I did get teased, picked on, and everything from different people, and it really did hurt me because I grew up in a very sheltered environment. Like I went to a Catholic school, then I went to public school, and I just like was like, what is this? So I was really sheltered by my parents, really protected. I wasn't really told much about the outside world. Just, you know, kind of was taught that everybody's nice and, you know, there's nobody that can hurt you and stuff like that. So obviously going into my adulthood / teenhood, it was hard. You know, I felt like weird, and I just felt like I couldn't take it. Like a lot of things that hurtful things that people would say to hurt me would make me feel like really just bad, and I would just feel like I can't deal with this, you know, like it's just like I feel like something's wrong with me. It's making them like pick on me and stuff. So yeah, so it was really hard for me to go to high school and focus and all of that. Getting into more detail about this stuff, I will talk about how my parents kind of spoke to me as a child and how it affected my mental health. Also, I just want to put it out there that I'm doing this video because I want to, and because I want to help people who are going through the same thing, not to get revenge or anything. Well, first of all, I'm not even mentioning my parents' names. I'm not mentioning that. Obviously, people who know me personally will know my parents, but other than that, I'm not mentioning their names. I'm just mentioning how this made me struggle in my childhood. So yeah, so growing up with my mom, we never really had a good relationship. Ever since like I was like becoming like, I don't know, like 7, 8, 9, we never had a good relationship. I was always closer to my dad at the time, who did not live with us. So my parents never got married. They were only together dating, and yeah, something happened between my mom and my dad that I won't share, but you know, it's personal and people break up. So they broke up when I was like 2, I think, or 3. And yeah, and that was hard, even though my dad was still around in my life. Obviously, like, it's hard when your parents don't live together, you know, because you just want them to live together and be happy ever after, you know, family and stuff. And I just want to mention too, like, I've always been so like scared of sharing about my life to anybody, like even friends, because like I feel like they'll judge me. Like I feel like they'll be like, oh, like, you know, they won't believe me, which has happened a lot, unfortunately. Which has happened a lot. And sorry if I'm kind of going off and on. I'm just trying to like say what's on my mind without having to be like in a chronological order, you know what I'm saying? Okay, enough editing. I think that me worrying about editing is going to be like just it's just gonna make me feel like weird when talking. I don't know, let me just say, like, let me just pretend I'm talking to somebody. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyways, yeah, most people have, especially like people close to my family, have always been like painted me as the wrong person, like as the person who is the evil one, like the mean one, or the person who caused my parents problems, which isn't, it's just not true. I just want to say that. I know I just edited there because first of all, I'm having trouble speaking, so it's not easy. It's not, like, it's not easy to talk about this, but I want to make it clear, you know, and prove my point on how I feel, you know, and hopefully help others. Like, I'm usually more talkative than this, you guys know, but this is like a topic where it's hard to talk about, so bear with me. Anyways, if I have to edit, I'll edit. So yeah, so anyways, getting into the story, my mom personally believed in different types of punishments that I didn't believe in. She said that she was never abusive, but in my opinion, I found it abusive. Hitting a lot. And I could understand like spanking a child, but like when it comes to like hitting a child, like with different objects and like for like more than 5 minutes, like you're actually like beating them, you're not hitting them. So that happened to me growing up a lot. It did haunt me because obviously like I became scared of my own mother because I'd be screaming in pain, like screaming in agony and pain. And like my grandmother was around, and thankfully she would have to stop her and get her off of me because she'd literally be on top of me, like attacking me. So yeah, and I was always told by her, oh, that's just how I got raised, and you know, it's nothing wrong with that, you know, I'm just trying to do the best job I can for you, and it was never anything wrong to you. She never really apologized. Like, she was always like, you know, I mean, I deserve to be like that towards you because I'm your mother, I could do whatever I want. Again, this was hard growing up because I felt like I had to be perfect in order to not be beaten. She would put her arms, hands, like around my neck one time, like a couple times, like against a wall, and like put them around me. And she said, oh, I was restraining me. Restraining me from what though? Like, I wasn't trying to hit you. What were you, like, and she's like, oh, it wasn't choking. Well, it was putting your hand over my neck. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you choked me because obviously I mean, well, honestly, it was hard for me to breathe. So it was probably like around that choking, but like, I'm basically saying that that's not okay. And like, she was always like, oh, and when I would tell like a therapist about it, she'd be like, I never did that ever. Like, she always lied about it, or she always said, oh, the only reason I would do that stuff is because she would be like trying to flare out at me and she was really like evil and rude. And it's like, that's why I am talking to you guys, because I don't know, I have a lot of supporters on YouTube, and I feel comfortable talking to you guys about this. And I want you guys to know like how this has affected my life. And a lot of people think, oh, it's because, you know, I have issues, and oh, it's just because like I'm a toxic person. I just want to say to anybody who thinks I'm toxic, keep watching this video because you have no idea what's going on in my life. And I don't believe I'm a toxic person. Have I pushed people out of my life? Yes, I have, because to be honest, I've gone through a lot, and it was essential for me to do this, for me to grow. So yeah, I did cut people out of my life because I needed to grow, and honestly, it worked. And a lot of people weren't really supportive. I've gotten lied to, I've gotten backstabbed, I've gotten manipulated, so it's hard for me to trust people. So honestly, that's why I'm more focused on doing my own thing than making new friends, because first of all, COVID hit hard. That was hard. And then second of all, it's hard because I have trust issues, and it's hard for me to trust people. The reason that is because of my childhood, which I'm getting into. Other things my mom did besides physically abuse me were verbal abuse. I would always get told about my body and the things that were wrong with it. Like, if I looked confident or if I felt pretty, oh, you're going out like that? Like, look at how your thighs look in that. Like, your thighs are huge. Or your back is so big. Like, I've never seen somebody with a back that big. And wow, that pimple looks tremendous. Like, you understand how these things can affect, especially a girl's, like, mental health and self-esteem. I mean, guys too, all the way. But, like, honestly, that affects your child's self-esteem. And I know that you think that you're trying to help by telling them all about their flaws, but you're not. You could say it nicely. Like, you could say, oh, maybe you could wear this instead and see how this looks, or try this on. But to be honest, once a child hits over like 18, they can wear whatever they want. So you shouldn't be like critiquing them in that sense. So yeah, a lot of that, and obviously a lot of parents have gone, children have gone through this when their parents are like, oh, why aren't you like this other girl? Why aren't you like your friend? I wish that I had your friend as a daughter. She's so much better than you. My dad would always tell me, I don't want a fat daughter. I don't want a daughter that's fat. He would always tell me that fat people aren't attractive. So yeah, which is obviously is not true in my eyes. So I've always been a girl who's been not skinny, but like obviously more chubby and more just have more weight on them. And to be honest, I've obviously like been insecure, but I've never hated myself because of that. And I think that's what people saw in me and try to bring me down because I had confidence. To me, I didn't see myself as somebody that was that bad, but my dad would always be like, oh yeah, like you look huge. No guy is ever gonna want you. No boy is ever gonna like you. And stuff like that. So, obviously that was really shattering to my self-esteem. But I did get a boyfriend. I did prove him wrong because I had 2 boyfriends in my life. When I was, I was chubby and yeah, basically how I am now, and they still loved me for who I was. So that just shows you that I got a boyfriend. So yeah, and I have told friends about this, like in ways where they said that's just not okay, and they understood, and that has made me feel better because growing up, when I would tell my parents about how you spoke to me, they would say, oh, I was just joking and I didn't mean it like that. Oh, so saying that you don't want a fat daughter and you're embarrassed to see me with you when I'm fat is a joke? Like, is that supposed to be a joke? I don't think so. I also felt like I could never do anything right at home. The smallest mistakes I did were exaggerated to the point where I felt extremely guilty. And I felt like I had to be perfect in order to get good attention from my parents. Obviously, growing up as a kid, you want your parents to like idolize you. You want your parents to be proud of you. So a lot of times when I would, something would spill on the floor, like they would yell at me and be like, how stupid can you be? Like, or like, you made a complete mess. Like, seriously? Like, why can't you be better? Like, why can't you be more careful? Like, and I understand parents say this, but like, once it happens all the time, it's like, you feel like a failure. And I'm not blaming my parents for everything that went wrong in my life, but it definitely took a huge toll on me. So things like that were being said. There's honestly just a lot of things that went on. My dad is personally a person who he would be very verbally abusive, not physically, but verbally. Obviously the fat daughter thing, and if I didn't do what he said, like I'm talking about like the simplest things, like stuff that I was doing, like part of my life, like creative arts or whatever, like he would tell me like how to do it and that he was right all the time, which honestly isn't helpful, and people should be able to do what they want to do. So it went on for a while, definitely till I was 18. And also not being able to hang out with guys was definitely hard, because I understand like the dangers of hanging out with a guy, but like I wanted to invite guys at my birthday party once, like just a couple guy friends, and they're like, no guys allowed, like because of whatever. And I'm just like, okay, but you guys are going to be supervising the birthday party. I was like 15, like, or whatever. I'm like, nothing's gonna happen if you guys were supervising it. So yeah, I would try to hang out with guys, and they would put an end to it, just like guy friends from school. They would, and that really hurt me, because growing up in high school, I was teased and bullied by a lot of girls, and a lot of girls were mean to me in high school. So hanging around guy friends was actually helpful for me, because they were a lot more chill and a lot more easy to talk to, and I didn't have to deal with the girl drama per se. So that definitely tore me, because, you know, I was really close to a guy friend in school too, and my dad like literally told him, if you don't stop hanging out with my daughter, that he's gonna call the police. Like literally said that. And he went to my school, and yeah, was he a couple years older? Yes, but he was a really good friend, and he had no harm. Like I know he had no harm. I'm a very insightful person. I'm a very insightful person. Honestly, it's a part of my zodiac, which is Taurus, but also April 23rd birthdays are very insightful. And honestly, that's just how I am. I am very telepathic. A lot of things that I guess of how people are feeling or how they're feeling, I guess a lot of what people are about to say. So I really can see good people and bad people. I can tell if somebody's manipulative or not manipulative. It's just, I can see the signs. So yeah, that was hard for me, because if I couldn't hang out with guys, I felt like I had no one to hang out with in school. So yeah, that was hard. I'm gonna say when I got a boyfriend, when I was 17, I went back together with my ex, and that was actually one of, like, it was hard. It was a hard relationship because of differences, but it was one of the best times in my life too, because I actually got to get away from the toxicity that my parents were showing, like the behaviors. So, because we would go out like 3 times a week, and he really did save me from that situation. So, I thank him for that. I do. And honestly, that was a really good thing, that I was glad I got to have freedom with him, because it got me away from this house. And anytime I felt bad or alone, he would, like from my parents abusing me, he would pick me up and comfort me. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into this. My mom also is the type of person who, if I ever felt bad, she would never like make me feel okay. Like she would never try to comfort me. Like she would always be like, she would put the blame on me for her. She'd be like, how are you like, oh yeah, my dad too, like, how are you feeling bad when we have it way worse than you? Like, why are you depressed when we have so much more responsibilities than you? You shouldn't be anxious, you have a perfect life. Like, how does that make an anxious or depressed person feel? Like, it makes you feel like a complete loser. Also, my dad has said, like, if you commit suicide, you're selfish, and he's told me, like, for being suicidal, you're a selfish person, like you want to tear apart the family, and I don't know why you'd ever think of doing that. Again, I would say that tore me apart the most, because when I was feeling so vulnerable and weak, and when he told me that in that weak, vulnerable stage, I felt like the most pain I've ever felt before, really. I've also felt really heartbroken from my mom, the way my mom has done that and raised me in a way where when I needed somebody to cry on, she was emotionally unavailable. Again, narcissistic parents and manipulative parents they have these traits. They basically treat you as a trophy in order they basically are just using you as property, and they want people to think that they're great parents and the perfect parents, when in reality they're not. They don't see what's behind closed doors. So yeah, it was definitely hard growing up getting told I was crazy by everybody, especially family would say that your mom loves you, she's doing the best she can for you, you're putting her through a really hard time. Yet I'm the one going through anxiety and depression. Like, honestly, dude, like, I feel like because you're young, you get told that your feelings shouldn't be valid. You shouldn't have anxiety. You shouldn't have depression because you're young. You shouldn't feel sad because you're young. You shouldn't feel sad because you have a roof over your house. You shouldn't feel sad because you go to school. Like, that's just the wrong mindset. Honestly, I got told that a lot. My mom would twist words to my family a lot and tell my family things that I never did. And obviously, who is the family going to believe? Her. And who would get ridiculed and tormented because of that? Me. So obviously going through that, I was a really hard time. And my dad, through all of this, has been living in New York City on and off. He was never really around to deal with this, so he's never seen this type of behavior that my mom was doing to me. So obviously when I told him, he was very dumbfounded and didn't really know what to think, and was just kind of like shrugged it off. A lot of therapists would side with my mother because as soon as she would go into the therapy room, she would cry. She would literally cry every single time. And a lot of times crying isn't always like something that is dealing with pain. It's for people to sympathize with you. So a lot of times, since she would be crying, I would be crying too, they would side with her because she'd be like, I'm just doing the best I can and I don't know what to do. I've like done it all. Yet you're verbally abusive and physically, yet you're doing your best. Like, okay then. I did have one therapist who believed in me and, well, who told me what this is. And this was a year ago. And yeah, at the time, I was really struggling. Wasn't on medication and was really struggling with everything. And I explained to her how my parents have treated me, just being completely honest in the past and from the past. And she was like, yeah, I'm sorry to tell you this. Like, I didn't even know what this was at the time. She's like, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your parents are very manipulative and controlling people. And that has a lot of why you're mentally ill. That is a big reason. So she basically went into depth about that. But honestly, hearing that, it's just, I was ignoring it at the time. Like, I wasn't really aware of what was going on. If I ever would confront them with how I felt, like, I'd be like, you know, what you did really hurt me. Like, so-and-so, if they said something verbally abusive or physically, they'd be like, how did it hurt you? I didn't say anything to hurt you. You're being over dramatic. So I couldn't, eventually, when I got hurt, I just kept it inside and didn't tell them because I knew they would never understand. But looking back at this, my therapist was honestly 100% right. But at the time, I was listening to my parents who, when I told them, I didn't say what she said, but I just said, you know, my therapist thinks that a lot of things you guys have done in the past, and then they instantly are like, what? You've had the perfect life, the perfect childhood. We never did anything wrong to you. We're like, we treat you so well, and blah, 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 blah. So obviously, I took their side, and then my therapist, I just was like, I'm struggling right now. She's like, okay. And I needed to take medication for this. She's like, yeah, you do need to take medication because you're living in this household, which is honestly 100% true. That's the reason I take it, mainly because of this household and because of the anxiety it's caused. So yeah, so she unfortunately wasn't a medication provider, so I had to find a psychiatrist. But anyways, I am seeing a psychiatrist right now. I am on the right meds, thankfully, guys. And it's going well right now. Right now, I've never been mentally as strong as I've ever been. I honestly have been really, like, listening to myself more, speaking up for myself, more comfortable being alone. Like, I love socializing with people, but like, I love being independent. Like, I love doing my own thing. It's just so relieving, especially with everything I've gone through with my family. So yeah, there's also been things that I've had rumors about me in school in the past. There was one specific rumor with an ex-friend, and if you guys want me to make a video about that explaining my side of the story and the truth, then I will release that too, if you guys are into these story types of videos. So yeah, guys, a lot of that has happened. There's been a lot of chaos and stuff in my life. So if you've been one of my friends and I've pushed you away for no reason or so on, I'm sorry. It's mainly because dealing with this has been really effective on my life. I've always been called somebody who seeked attention in my family for having anxiety, somebody who seeked attention for being depressed. I have struggled with self-harm. I've gotten told that I've been an attention seeker for that. Self-harm was a way for me to cope with the emotional pain and with my parents, and a lot of other people verbally abusing me and exaggerating my mistakes, making me feel like I'm a failure. I felt like I deserved that, so I did that. It's very hard for me to open up to people and speak to people about how I feel, because whenever I tried as a younger kid, I'd always get shut down and was told that sharing my feelings wasn't something I could do because I was a kid and stuff. And I would always get just very basically smashed down whenever I tried to say what was on my mind. Nobody would believe me. Everybody would think I was a liar, and they would always side with my parents. So honestly, I haven't really went into detail with my psychiatrist about this. Like, I went into detail with him about a portion of this stuff. Obviously, I don't see him much, you know, he's busy. I see him like twice a month, but like, I'm gonna try to explain to him how this has really affected my life, because honestly, that's why I'm thinking I might need a therapist, because therapists are they're just beneficial when you know, because psychiatrists mainly are just recommending the dosages of meds. They're dealing with the mind. They're not really like dealing with like your feelings or whatever. So I'm gonna try to maybe find a therapist where I could just pay for it, because my insurance only allows me to have one provider. So yeah, I think they'd be beneficial. I mean, I think I could handle a lot of this on my own, but I do think it's important for me to have somebody to help me get through this trauma, because it's really affected my life up to day one. Caused anger issues, mood swings, violence, and so on. So I know I've talked a lot about this, guys. Well, it's been 32 minutes. And this is just a start off of what I wanted to say. And I know I didn't mention everything in this video, but I've never wanted to put labels on my parents. But I do believe that they do have some traits of being manipulative and narcissistic when I was a kid. And it's tough, because when you're a child, you don't want to see your parents in that light. And I've just pushed it down for my whole life, and I've always known that there is something iffy about them. Like, and I would always tell my mom, like, why do you like seem to put me down so much? She would always say, oh, it's all in your head, you're paranoid, I don't put you down, it's your mental health issues. Like, they try to trick me and manipulate me into thinking I'm the problem, I have all these issues, I'm like psycho. But I've known for years that the way I was feeling was right, and that I was right, and I know how I felt, and I know that what I felt was valid. So honestly, I don't care who believes me or who doesn't, because I know what really happened, and God knows what really happened. And I just want to take a moment to thank God for bringing me this far in my life, because honestly, I've been through a lot, and God knows that I felt like I couldn't survive anymore. I felt like my life is pointless. I mean, just think about it. Growing up with your parents treating you that way, constantly being ridiculed on how you look, the mistakes you do, every single flaw about you is highlighted. And then getting picked on in school because of your sensitivity, because of your anxiety and your depression that was caused by your parents, losing friends because of the way you grew up and how it affected your life. It's been a lot. It's been a lot, and I just want to say, without God, I would not be here today. And I thank him for that. It's a lot. If you're struggling today with parents that have similar traits to what I've spoken about, parents who are constantly putting you down verbally, abusively, physically, and all that, and you just feel like your life doesn't matter, I want you to know that your life does matter. I know right now it's hard for you. I'm thankful that I'm 20 because right now I'm trying to look on how to get out of here. And I've struggled a lot with jobs because of my anxiety and everything. And I have mentioned a new job, so I'm hoping to get that started really soon. And I'm going to be asking them, like, when's the next day that I come in, because I think that she forgot to tell me. So, like, when is the next day I come in for, like, the background check and all that stuff. I know I'm hired, but I have some steps and I just want to get started so that way I can get out of here. And I realized that me wanting to get out of here was never something that was selfish in me. It was simply because the negativity around me has always been so much to bear, and being in a different state, honestly, like, I don't even want to live here anymore. Being in a different state far from here is just, I know that it would be the best for me, so I'm working towards it. I need a freaking job so that way I can get out. So if you're underage, if you're a minor, and you have to live with your parents and they're physically abusing you and verbally, and you're getting treated like shit, I just want you to know that it's going to be okay, and speak up for yourself. Tell a social worker or a therapist. A lot of times they're going to say they can't do anything because you're a minor. When I was getting attacked by my mom growing up, I was always told that it didn't matter because I was a minor and I had to live with her as long as she wasn't taking a gun to me or a knife to me and, like, leaving cuts or, like, really like bad marks, I would be fine. And I'm gonna leave a link in the description if you guys have not checked out these two videos. There's actually a video out there of a guy who was 14 years ago, this was a long time ago, who was struggling with his mom. Wanted to live with his dad, blah 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 blah. Mom was pretty narcissistic. Honestly, watching that video was like going back in time because my mom is just like her, like literally, like, this woman, the way she was acting towards her son, like wanting her way. And it's not violent, by the way, guys, it's just like a debate. It's really interesting. You guys should just watch it. But yeah, you guys will be fine if you're going through this. I hope this video made you feel less alone. And without further ado, guys, I am going to end this video. I've talked about it, and right now I'm tired of standing. It's been like over half an hour. And it's been hard to say all this. So yeah. But I'm brave and I want to help people. From now on, I want to do videos where I can actually help people and share some stories about my life. I want to give inspiration to people And that's why I'm not shutting down this YouTube channel, because I want to use this as my platform. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, thank you guys for watching if you made it to the end. I love you guys. Don't forget to stay positive and motivated, and we'll see you guys. Positivity. Okay, next time. Alright, I love you guys. Bye-bye. You're beautiful, strong, and amazing. Love you.